and out of body experience world, you'll see what I'm saying when she starts sharing about her life and the reason for her creating her nonprofit organization. So I met Miss Brown, wow, I think maybe 2009, I think it was, and we literally at that time we were working together and we traveled all over the United States together with an organization called NACA, and we did home modifications to save people because of the market crash. People were losing their homes, so the federal government, as well as financial institutions like Bank of America and Citi Morgan and such, they financed millions of dollars for us to go around the United States and help homeowners, home buyers, keep their home and save it from foreclosure. So we did that in a ridiculous fashion, all over, literally all over the United States. And that was our, continued introduction to the mortgage industry and the financial literacy. It was just amazing. And then from there, I still didn't know her story, had no idea. And I had seen the story about her family and didn't put it together. I had no idea who I was working with and who I was in the presence of at the time. Once again, I don't want to spoil, I want to let her be able to share a story, but I had no idea who I was in the presence of. And then when it came to me, I received a spiritual connection to her in a way that she wasn't aware. It was like, because I really felt everything about her then, and understanding her being. She is an amazing, amazing human being. She has her own company as well. She does life insurance and she has a series license. She does retirement planning and everything. She's phenomenal. She's saved and changed a lot of people's lives in the business world through her company. And then in addition to the nonprofit organization, Roddie Junior Watchdog Foundation, she is helping to protect and save lives as well. So for all of us, wonderful, and we love pets, love our pets owners. We're about to learn some new information about making sure that we not only ourselves, but just educating our neighbors on us continue to being responsible pet owners and ensuring that the safety of ourselves and our family members are a priority always, which for most of us we know it is, but we're about to learn some great information about that, and just some helpful information as well about being responsible pet owners. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to allow her to introduce herself more. And the other thing, I ask that you all don't hold it against her. She's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. We can't all be perfect. Here's the reason why I came here like this.
Every time I like him, just a little bit.
So with that being said, Ms. Brown, will you please grace us with your presentation? Thank you. We're looking forward to hearing from you today.
Well, thank you. I was happy. I'm happy to see everyone except Daryl. Just wanted you to know that. Thank you for having me. Daryl expressed to me about the Rotary, and I learned something about what you guys do. And he shared a little bit. I mean, I'm a mom of 3. My oldest son, let's say, 29. My baby boy is 19, about to be 20 in a couple days, and thinks he's getting a car. Really. And my daughter is 9. I don't know where she came from, but she came. And I made sure that nobody else could come from where she came from. So I think we lost connection. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
It came back on again, but I think we lost connection.
You're on, you have to start sharing.
Start sharing again.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go back to sharing your screen.
Okay, let's do that. It was because Daryl has on that cowboy.
Yeah.
Is it there?
We'll get him a Kansas City jersey to wear next time.
Okay. So, she's 9, and I'm all about family, and what I thank God for is being able to know my purpose and my why and why I'm here. and what I'm here to do. And I've always wanted to serve my community, serve others, be a presence in a positive manner, impacting lives in a positive way. So, in 2004, I was actually working for a company here in Charlotte, and it was called Easy Leasing. And what I did there was people leased their things in their home, like their TVs and their, radios and things like that to get cash. I was a manager for an organization like that. I was 7.5 months pregnant with my son Roddie, and I'm sorry, 7.5 months pregnant. I had my son Roddie, he was 8 years old at the time, and I'm looking for this bundle of joy, and I get this telephone call. And the telephone call I get was saying, hey, there's been an accident. It's from a police officer. They needed to know my location, like where I was, because there had been an accident. So in my mind, I was thinking, an accident, so a car accident. So someone's been involved in a car accident. And so we rush over to Carolina's Medical Center. I think it's a different name now, but we rush over to Carolina's Medical Center, and there I am told that my 8-year-old son, Roddie, had been attacked and killed by 4 pit bulls, and he died. Right. So 7.5 months pregnant, getting this news that my son passed away, and I'm like, how and why? And find out that it was 4 pit bulls. He was outside playing at his grandmother's home, and he was attacked and killed by 4, and they were unable to save him due to the blood loss that he sustained. So, I mean, it was something that blew me away, something that I couldn't even fathom, happening. Like how does this happen? And thinking that you're the only one that it's happening to is something that was obvious to me. But I found out that I wasn't the only one that it happened to. I found out through my research that 4.7 million bites and fatalities combination happen yearly.
United States.
In the United States, 4.7 million. And I was just one of those that it was highly publicized. It's here in Charlotte. So many people came to rescue CMPD, Animal Care and Control. So many people were on scene, paramedics and everyone trying to help and figure out, what had happened. So that happened April the 16th of 2004. My birthday is April the 8th, so we had just had this huge celebration celebrating. Then there was Easter, and on Easter, my son dressed up in his suit. It was orange. It was orange. And he dressed up in his Easter suit, and he walked down, and he was so thankful. And that was the first time that I ever saw my son shout in church and give glory like the way that he gave it. And then he was gone. So what I did was, I was, I had my son, Caden, who is now about to be 20. And I kept hearing stories, all the time about these dog bites. The news and the media, I thought that they were just contacting me because they wanted a story. They wanted to be the first to know what happened, how I was feeling. I was traumatized. It's like, how do you, I can't even express how I feel right now because it didn't seem real. I'm trying to plan a funeral and things like that. And it was always my belief that no one should have to bury your child. I feel like it should be vice versa, even how cruel that may be for a child to bury their parents, but that's the way in my mind it should have been. 10 days prior to my son passing away, I canceled some life insurance that I had because the agent at the time told me that there was better products and services out there than the one that I had. So she was supposed to be switching that around. She canceled it before we got something else in place. And then 10 days later, my son was gone and I had no life insurance. So imagine that, you're going through that at the same time, and then you figure out now you have no life insurance. So that's how I got into the financial services industry. because I wanted people to understand that it wasn't just elderly people that passed away. It wasn't just sick people that passed away. Everybody, no, there is no discrimination on age. If you look at it, you probably came in and you probably saw a car accident or something, you've seen it. Sometimes those people don't walk away from it. So by the end of that year of 2004, I decided to get my life insurance license because I didn't want people to experience the financial burden that I did when it came to burying my child, which came to $16,429.13.
It's always on it, sister.
That was exactly how much it cost, because I wanted the extra, the bells and whistles. He was taller than the average child, but smaller than the average adult, so that came with custom-made caskets and things like that. You know, so in the midst of me doing that and trying to give back and not let someone else experience what I was experiencing, I kept getting telephone calls from people all around the world saying that they had experienced a death, a loss, a fatality, something where their children have lost fingers or parts of their jaw or their scalp or just various parts of their body they had been bitten and they needed some type of surgery or they were severely traumatized. And I came up with Roddie P. Dumas Jr. Foundation. We changed the name a few years ago to Roddie Jr.'s Watchdog Foundation. And what we do is we, I wanted people to understand what they were having in their home, not to discriminate against any breed specifically, but to educate the owners and community about what's the right breed for your home and the things that you should do to be responsible, if that makes sense. So that's what we did. We started, a 501c3 here in Charlotte, it's uptown Charlotte, it's the corner of 3rd and Brevard. If you guys are familiar where that is, it's right beside the Grace Church. That's where we're located. And we, this is Roddie. Isn't he so beautiful? He looks like his mom. This is Roddie, and our website, that you can follow along with too, just in case we lose, is RoddieWatchdog.org. And we talk about the things that, I'm very transparent when it comes to that. I'm still at a loss of words. I just still can't believe that he's gone and it's been 20 years. And so at the beginning, I was so angry at every dog. I didn't care if it was Snoopy or whomever. I was just angry, that he passed away the way he passed away. But then I started doing research and finding out that it didn't just happen to me. It's not just happening to me. It happens again to like 4.7 million people across the globe. And those are the ones that are reported. And the reason I say reported with a high emphasis is because those are the ones that are recorded to have said that they've been bitten or, statistics with the hospitals were provided. But we like to think that number is double. And the reason that is because sometimes friends or neighbors won't report a bite because it's their neighbor or because it's their friend, or because they didn't want to get someone in trouble, or because, well, it was that dog's first time biting. And maybe you did something, maybe you didn't smell good, or maybe you were like Daryl and wearing Cowboys gear, and they just didn't like that. I think that's a good reason, especially Cowboys. But, whatever the reason is, people are not reporting those things. So with the services that we provide with RJWF, we're providing services to children ages 0 to 17. And the reason that I focus there is because children are the highest group to be bitten. And it's probably because they're curious and they have no filter. They think that everything loves them and they love everything. So it's children first, and then it falls on the elderly, believe it or not, is the next highest group. And then it falls in between with there. So we focus on helping children ages 0 to 17 with whatever financial services they need. Maybe that's pediatric plastic surgery. Maybe that's funeral costs or expenses, emotional support. people have to understand this, is that when a child or anyone is bitten or attacked, it doesn't just affect one person. It affects everybody. It affects the people in your home. It affects the people outside your home, because then it causes fear. So the treatment and the services for therapy, we really implore people to take that, because a scared child then becomes a scared adult, and we don't want that. So we provide emotional, physical, and financial assistance to those who've been affected. Does anyone have any questions so far for me? We're transparent, we're in here.
Are you one of the few nonprofits that does this, or do you have partners?
Well, I am, so far, I am the only nonprofit that does this, what I do. Most nonprofits have a sole purpose on the pets, with breeding and trying to make sure that they put out there that certain breeds are not bad. And they have like rescue organizations that kind of help out with that. But I have not seen to date one that does what we do, where we're solely focused on the youth and the education piece together. So again, our mission is to significantly reduce dog bites and fatalities through our youth in the United States. And what we do is we want to give the community the tools and resources they need to make educated decisions about the type of pets that you're bringing into your home, and make sure that they align with the lifestyle that you're living. And so, we want to make sure that your families and pets can both coexist. And so my 9-year-old, who's like 29, she just got a puppy. And people are like, you got a dog, they can't believe that you got a dog. Yeah, because it wasn't the dog, it was the owner. We have to be responsible as pet owners to make sure that we're doing right by our pets, and in return, our pets will do right by us. So, you think she's probably got this huge dog? No, she's got a 5-pound feisty Maltese Pomeranian mix that is so sassy. Her name is Amina. And it doesn't matter how small or how big the breed is, we have to do right by them and make sure that we're providing the tools and resources for them, whether that's training, whether that's being spayed or neutered or whatever, it is, to make sure that we're encompassing the right things. So what we talk about is knowing your breeds. Some people are single, some people don't have children, some people, stay at work all day, whatever it is, but knowing your breed is huge. So we kind of focus on the things here, like before you buy. Like, we give you tools and resources to tell you, like, before you buy, do you know that this is a lifelong commitment? It's not something for the week. It's not just dog food and water or whatever and taking them to the vet. It's a lifelong commitment. And responsible dog ownership starts with you. So there's certain exercise requirements, certain diet requirements. Guess what? These, our pets, they get illnesses, they get sick just like we do. They have cancers and things that we have to take into consideration that can happen. All those things play a part in having a healthy relationship or a healthy animal. So we talk about that. We also talk about partnering with your local animal care and control, taking a visit to the animal shelters and visiting the different types of breeds, educating yourself, on the do's and don'ts of responsible dog ownership. So in this, what you see now is this looks like Amina, but this is not her. She looks almost like this. But on our website, you can also go on and look at different types of breeds, from small breeds to bigger breeds. And if you click on one, then you should be able to click, it will take you to the American Kennel Club. And that will show you and give you the tools there that you can look at your particular breed. Oh, I hate that for that. But hopefully what everyone's been able to see is, you can go on the website as well. And you can log on there and see under RoddieWatchdog.org, the different types of breeds and everything that are there. What we focus on in this particular one is if certain breeds are good with children, if they're good with other animals. We talk about trainability, their temperament, if they're kid friendly. You'll see all of that. If they're really playful, if they have a lot of energy, we kind of talk about that about all of that. And here are some of the kid friendly breeds that you'll see here. If you click on them, they'll tell you which breeds are kid friendly, and this is just only a few. But if you click to see more, then it'll take you directly to the best breed for kids, to the American Kennel Club and other things so that you can see which breed. And the thing is that February and December are times when people really purchase pets because they're in love and they get all those mushy feelings, and all the rest of that. And or it's Christmas time and they want to provide their loved one with some type of pet. But you have to do your research, you have to do your due diligence. Here, we talk about statistics, and they're great. I put here, this just talks about statistics from 2015 to 2019, and it talked about kids being 10 years old or less made up the majority of victims that were killed by dogs. That's a large number. You can find a lot of this on dogsbite.org, or through various other entities. We use dogbites.org as well as the CDC, to kind of go through some of this. I'll share this story. People think that it's not that often that this happens, but it does. It happens on a regular basis. 2 weeks ago, baby Ezra, parents to, I'll say, Chloe and Mark, you can look up the story, it's a very publicized story. They lost baby Ezra, a 6-week-old baby. They've been trying to have children for a while, and she got pregnant, and they had baby Ezra 6 weeks ago. Well, 2 weeks ago, the family dog, a husky breed, if anyone wants to know that they had for 8 years, killed the baby, took the baby out of the crib and killed the baby. That was 2 weeks ago. The message through even what they were saying when and I hate when the media gets to them right then, they're so vulnerable, but even then they were saying, it starts with, you don't know what you don't know, and they couldn't believe that this had happened. Their dog had showed no signs of aggression, anything like that. Well, it's a new baby, it's a new person, they don't know what that is, but they were saying, how do you go back to loving a dog when they've taken a life? Well, I would say it takes some time, it takes God, definitely, and it takes you to do the research and provide yourself with awareness about what to and not to do in the home. So that was baby Ezra. So 2 months ago, there was in Connecticut, they've got a lot of stories here as well, but in Connecticut, 1-year-old Lennox had celebrated his birthday on March the 9th. They were supposed to be having a birthday party around the 14th, I believe, and he was attacked and killed by the family pet. Statistics, 90% of the dog bites that happen occur with a familiar dog or with a family pet. So we want to make sure that we're educating our children and ourselves to let them know about not pulling and tugging on dogs' ears, not riding them like they're something other than a horse. All the different things that they can do, not taking their chew toys and their toys away from them, not messing with them when they're eating. They don't like to be bothered all the time, just like we don't. And paying attention to the signs. In North Texas, April the 16th, which was the same day that my son passed away, a North Texas family dropped their, well, they asked for their name not to be it, but in North Texas, a German Shepherd breed killed a 1-year-old baby that was dropped off at a babysitter's, and she did not know how to get the dog off of the baby. So it happens on a regular basis. It happens more often than you can probably even fathom. We just ask that, you know, if you do the one thing different, we ask that you never leave any child left alone, you know, with any animal that's unsupervised. That's just something that we do. Selecting your dog is a huge thing. You know, if you're a person that works out, you leave a certain type of breed in your home, you come home, your house is destroyed. You know, so you just wanna make sure that you're, you know, doing the right thing and teaching your children, you know, positive things, you know, here that, you know, and avoiding certain games. I don't think that they should be wrestling and playing rough with them because, you know, to me, it just doesn't seem right, you know, but it can trigger certain. Keeping your dog healthy is definitely a huge one, and you can lessen aggression and things like that through spaying and neutering as well. Any questions for me so far? No. We have Roddie's Corner. Is there a question? No? Okay. So what we have on the website as well, we have something called Roddie's Paw Pledge. And so the Paw Pledge, I implore the adults to take the Paw Pledge as well, but the Paw Pledge is a promise. And it's a promise to do certain things like never approach or a dog when they're eating, sleeping, chewing its bone, touch a dog that you don't know. I just had the best experience. Yesterday, we were out walking Amina, and a gentleman that lives in my neighborhood, he has a Mastiff, so he's huge. And I saw the little boy, said, oh, he's so big, I'd love to hug him. And before I could part my lips, my daughter was like, you need to ask the owner if it's okay for you to pet him. He looks cuddly, but I would ask if I were you. It made me feel so good, you know, and she did, and the child asked, and it was the best dog experience ever. I hugged the dog, I got slobbed on, like, it was the best. They were slobbering. And so, I mean, I left with a completely wet shirt other than being sweaty already outside. But just those different things, imploring your kids to ask for help, you know, is definitely a huge one. So at the bottom, they can click on, they can sign, and then they'll get a certificate saying that they agree to this Paw Pledge, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got different ways that you can partner. We've got RJ's news and calendars and different events that also are coming up. But I mean, ultimately, I just, you know, I know that it wasn't just me. The goal here is if everyone can just take away something and do that one thing different, then we can definitely minimize the bites, you know, and deaths that happen with our youth. You know, we want to be able to create safe havens for our children, as well as ourselves. And I believe that we can do that together. And so I don't know if there's any questions, but that's ultimately a lot, aside from being a mom and everything, this is my passion. This is my way that I can feel that I can give back to the community, the way that I don't have to have someone else go through the pain that I've been through, and that I still have bad days. You know, I smile through it because I know that I can be the difference, that you can be the difference with the little things that you do, even if it's just one thing. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or statements?
I just have a comment. I had a pit husky, or I have a pit husky mix now in the lab, but I had a pit mix at one point who I rescued from somebody who rescued her.
Okay.
So I didn't know all of the background until later. I put an invisible fence in my yard, and my next door neighbor, who she had loved and ran to every time she jumped out of the old fence, was in the front yard one day, and she came around the corner and latched onto this cat.
Yeah.
And because I have an invisible fence and kids can run through my yard, I put her down. And I found out later, I was able to go back to that original rescue and they said they believed that she'd been a baby dog.
Right.
So things that I learned from that experience is even if you're rescuing from another rescue, find it as best you can, because you can't, I mean, I loved her, she was sweet with me, but I can't have a dog in my house that could possibly injure a child or even the neighbor.
Yeah.
No, he did not want me to report it. He said, I love her, I don't want you to report this at all. And I was like, I can't not.
But see, to our point, there's a lot that don't report. I mean, you did what you felt that you needed to do, but that's what we say, we need all the background, we need all the research, you know, from the breeders, from whoever we're getting our animals from. They're just like people.
Yeah.
They've got a background, they've got history.
I rescue a lot, and this is the one I have now is a rescue, but I
Yeah.
got, she was 8 months old when I got her versus 4 years.
4 years.
So there was a lot more time to develop,
Yeah.
and I found out that after the fact, that she killed 2 of the dogs.
Yeah.
So like that wouldn't have been one that I brought into my house if I known those things.
Yeah, and in fairness, that dog was let down as well, because no one took the time, energy, or resources to get him or her what they needed.
And if I'd known,
And if you'd known, you would have made a different decision. But what's great about that is that you're aware. And it's probably giving you more spider senses than most. And unfortunately for me, I had no idea about what was happening until it happened to me. You know, so that's what I'm imploring people to do. Do your research. It doesn't take much. I mean, you can see the cutest thing, but Chihuahuas, honey,
Oh my
let me
They're the
tell you
worst.
about
They
them.
are the worst.
They
They're the worst
will
of all
go
of them.
after the biggest breed
Nothing but
ever
attitude.
with conviction.
and they don't like kids.
So,
What I didn't add, because I wanted to just to be every time I added at the end, was very honored to have been serving as one of the board members on the board of directors for her organization and things that I've learned about animals and being able to be one of the persons that help educate the community about being responsible dog owners, you know, starting with self, making sure, because I'm a German Shepherd lover, like I just don't think anything's better than a German Shepherd. And but still, you have to be responsible pet owners and take good care of your pet so that they can, you know, and that's what you call it, socializing. Make sure that is a part of the upbringing, socializing the animal. Because for me, I grew up in a community. I'm born and raised here in Charlotte. I grew up in West Charlotte, and clearly, guys, just you know, being very frank, I grew up in a community where having pit bulls was a status thing, and they wasn't trained. For example, and they gave it a bad rep. For example, because you were a bad owner. You didn't socialize, you didn't train properly, and it was just a status thing to have a beat. You didn't tell people, oh, come on, you won't bite. Really? You keep it chained up, it feels like it's in prison.
Yes.
It's not that's not healthy. And that's how it was then. And then dog bites in my community was rampant. And so this association just brought out thoughts about, wow, I didn't think about that then, it was just the way it was. But now, the people out jogging, you're running through trails and everything, you're biking or running, whatever, and you're running along, you got your headset on, you just got to get your exercise walk on, then you don't know something is coming at you, because someone's dog from one of the dog parks has done got out, and they're trying to work on socializing, but they're not there yet, and then you're unaware, and I've seen it happen, and we're running to stop the dog from, getting the lady who's just minding her business exercising, So stuff like that, I think about a lot, even more so now that I've been associated with Tameaka and with the organization. I just stay on heightened senses and always wanted to educate someone. Sometimes they receive it, sometimes they don't. She didn't mention, in her early years, particularly after she lost her son, to that horrible incident. And it was, once again, family. This wasn't him walking down the street, what have you, but being attacked by dog owners, verbally attacked by dog owners, because she's asking people about being more responsible, just educating on breeds and this, that, and the things that she went through was unreal. The attacks that she got verbally, radio shows and news notes and messages, like, oh my God, the insensitivity, people after someone's experienced it, it was real vulgar. It was mind boggling that you attack someone who's already had such a great loss. And all you want to do is say, hey, let's be better educators on being responsible dog owners. Don't, it's not about hate for animals.
I think they were so concerned with thinking that because it was a pit bull breed, that I was coming after pit bull owners, people who own them and trying to get them banned. But I had mentioned it in the city council meeting, saying, hey, you know, what do they have in place for, as far as homeowners insurance, as far as those things against people who have larger breeds, they should have homeowners insurance. They should have, you know, other, you know, things in place to help out if this happened, but people really, you know, were really protective over their pets and saying, hey, no, you should have done this and you should have done that. But again, I think it was out of fear. Most people were fearful, you know, at the time, but it didn't, you know, divert me from still trying to move forward. So it's not about eliminating or pointing out any breed, but I can promise you, if you get bit by a Chihuahua versus if you get bit by a Pit Bull or a Rottweiler or something with a larger bite grasp, then your wounds will be quite different. And to his point, what we see a lot is that the surgeries that are required, they're usually at about $28,000. That's what about $28,000, that's on the middle, the low end of it, where people are needing grafts and different ears and prosthetics, that they're losing fingers and things like that. And little boys, FYI, are the highest on that bracket to be bitten. They stick their hands through fences, they do all kinds of, they poke and they throw sticks and they do all kinds of things, so they're a little bit more risk takers than some of the girls. So I think that's why those numbers play a part in that. But
they agitate more too, though.
they do.
I mean, I some of the best dogs I've ever been around with pits. I mean, they're the sweetest dogs you've ever laid your eyes on. But I've
Sounds
also
like
seen-
great owners.
That's right, and, it's amazing, I've been around so many of them, I think that's crazy. You know, you can take I had a chow, that chow, if he bit somebody, I mean, they would bit, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and
I had a child like he was.
but he never
Blue
did.
leather jacket.
He never did, he'd back away. If somebody came to him and tried to hold out their hand, he'd jump back. He was afraid of it. And if they surprised him, you know, the trainer told me, he said, don't surprise him. Because he's gonna defend himself first, says the damage later.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, probably 1 in 3 people have been bitten or had a close encounter. That's what I've been realizing. I was bit when I was younger. I remember running at like 10 years old, running down the street and with a group of people, and we were running away from my dog, and he got me. He jumped on my back and he bit the back of my neck. And I had 4 stitches and I was terrified. You know, so I mean, you think about it, you know, we had Jose Rivas, a gentleman that we work with at Tameaka. He went to a friend's house recently and he was bit by the friend's dog in not a pleasant area, which required him to have multiple stitches and staples. So to your point, you have to know, like your dog, you know.
Well, I mean, I was walking my child one day, and I mean, it really pissed me off. Some kids were sitting on the curb with sticks. And then I walked by and they started reaching out and slapping at that dog. I said, I mean, I jumped all over their ass.
Yeah, but if you know better, you do better. And if you teach your children the proper things to do, then they know that it's a respect thing. You have to respect these animals and they'll respect you. You know, so again, it really comes down to the education piece of it and the do's and don'ts and being responsible. It takes all of us, not just.
I was reading an article one time that Michael Vick, you remember, had to deal with all the pit bulls. And I think they took 54, I believe it was, pit bulls from him, his various facilities.
Yeah.
And all of them but 3 dogs were replaced after training.
That's true.
It's amazing, it's amazing.
It's for, they didn't get the place they work from.
Wow.
But I wanted to say thank you very, very much for coming and sharing. I have to say in front of everyone, you're extremely strong. Strong spirited to get through, because I had to keep myself, I didn't even look at you, because when you put the first picture up and I'm seeing Roddie, I just put my head down, because I didn't want to look at you. I was just, the fact that I've seen you do this before, and the strength that you show to get through this is it's amazing. It truly is. It truly is amazing. I just have to tell you, because I know so many people just try to get through this, but your mission, he is your mission. And by the way, the son that she had is an identical twin, literally. I'm not joking, he's an identical twin to the son that she lost. You were like, what in the world?
Yeah.
You know, he's identical.
It was
Absolutely,
God. I
it's like they were
really think it
born
was God.
together, it blows me away.
He knew what I needed, and I keep God first, I do not shy away about my faith, and, because he is who continues to get me through this on an everyday basis. But what I can tell you is that I love meeting people who I've never met before, who say, I know you. Like, I feel like, they're staring at me, they're walking, this lady was walking in the grocery store, and she walked on every aisle, and she just kept looking at me, and I was like, hi. And she's like, I'm so sorry, but I feel like I know you. Did you work here? Did you go to school here? And I was like, no. She said, do you have any children? I said, yep, I have 3. And she said, well, do they go here? I said, well, my first son, Roddie. And she said, Roddie, I've prayed for you. It's like, I get, and I was a snotty nose, like everything in the store, because just the fact that now she knew who he was, and that she's extending the tools and resources and knowledge now to everybody that she knows, so that they can be safe, make me feel so good, so it starts there,
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Well,
Thank
we're
you for
wanting,
having me.
and you would love it if you could pull out the winning number.
I hope it's mine. My name's not on any of these, are they? Okay, let's go. Here's,
What will be the last 3 numbers?
the last 3 numbers are
That Prescott.
9, 9, 1. Oh, I need to check mine. Okay. 9, 9, 1, let's see.
David probably won, even though he's not here.
Well, none of these end with a 9, even start with a 9, so that's not me.
Someone has it, who's got 991? Jordan?
I have 391, but I don't have 991.
No, 3, 9, 1.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And as a token of our appreciation, I'd like to present you this, and, so when you go shopping, you can take your own